Let's take a look at these orcs, shall we? So these things, there's a little bit of a question on whether or not these things are retailing for $9.99 or if they're retailing for $12 or $12.99. I'm not sure what they are going to retail for. We'll keep an eye out for them. We will see. Nevertheless, some really cool cards in this little set that have been revealed already. These things are pretty easy to open, but just in case, I'm going to just kind of poke in here with this unassuming little knife that I have off to the side. There we go. Put that off to the side where I'm not going to stab myself on accident. I need some way of storing this stuff better than just like a little bag. I need to go and get something that stores well with these little team packs. These things are cool, but they're not good for storing themselves like the box are, and especially if you buy multiples of these. If you're buying like 2 team packs, then you kind of need your own storage because eventually you'll just grow out of that box. I guess the box is good enough for right now, though. Come on out, little guys. Come. Here, I'll just pull you out. There. Go in there. Guys, these orcs are awesome. Let's take a look at them. What in the world? Look at that. That's amazing. That's amazing. So let's take a look at the dice real quick. We didn't look at the dice of the last one. Wow, these feel different. They feel a little lighter. Not as substantial or heavy or anything like that. It's a little dark on screen, sorry. Cool though. We've got just a lot of really nice looking. I love these ones, these little clear translucent guys. It's pretty cool. Nice little silver and gray chrome looking dice. Fits the theme well. Got the big guy right there. Let's take a look at the cards because these cards are sweet. All right, let's get it focused up. So looking at the Orks team pack, I am not going to try to pronounce this one. We're just going to call him Gauze. Look at Gauze here. Thraka. Gauze Thraka. He's a 6-drop, got the Orks affiliation. Got a 3/8/8 on top, and he says, while he's active, once per turn, when you could use a global, you may KO a character die you control, and if you do, deal 1 damage to target opponent. Cool thing about this is you could do it on both your turn and your opponent's turn. So you could just start pinging like crazy once. Every time you just go back and forth, boom. Just drop it. Oh. What? That out of the way. I like this a lot. I kind of want to mess around with that. Just put someone on a clock. I like things where you put your opponent on a clock because it just makes them slowly understand that doom is setting in. But that's not focused enough. I want it to be crisp and high quality for you guys. I guess it's good enough. 7-drop version. He says, while he deals or when he deals combat damage to an opponent, you may KO any number of character dice you control. So you deal combat damage, you kind of push this through somehow, you keep it unblocked, and then just KO a bunch of your stuff, like say a bunch of your sidekicks. For each die KO'd that way, deal 1 damage to target opponent. So you could easily like OTK with this, like you slam this down, make him unblockable somehow, and then have enough either pumps and or characters on the field to push for the final bit of damage. Really interesting, especially because it's an 8/8 on top. Oh, you guys are saying kind things in the chat. That is so kind. That's so nice. I'm glad I could do these for you. Thank you, WizKids, again for allowing me to talk about this sweet looking set. I've been excited since they announced it. And if you are a big Warhammer fan, then time to get hyped because these cards are sweet. 5-drop version with this is Mogrock. Sorry, we switched characters because this is one that only has 2 iterations of this character because I'm not sure if they repurposed this one from a gravity feed to a box set. I think this was always supposed to be a box set, but in order to fit these into the team pack situations, they made this a 2 of. Is this the other 2 of? No, the other 2 of somewhere else in there, or I just got them out of order. No, I'm lying, you guys. Ha! He was just here the whole time. Here's the 3rd one. Yeah, well, that's embarrassing. 6-drop with range 2. When he uses range, you may KO any number of your sidekick character dice, and for each sidekick character die KO'd, increase his range by 1. Oh, that's sick. That's super cool. So you could just KO a bunch of your own sidekicks and make his range like 5. So deal 5 to, you know, one of your opponent's character dice. Pretty cool. That would be even sweeter if it buffed all the range, but you know, that would probably be pretty broken. Mogrock 5-drop, know-it-all get. It's a sweet little thing. It's got a 4/8 on top, and he says range 1 while he is active. Your other orc character dice, orc affiliated character dice, get +1/+1. So I've recently been into playing. I don't know if you guys have played this. It's the Magic the Gathering Arena, which is sort of the digital version of Magic the Gathering, the one that they're kind of pushing and trying to release pretty soon. And there's just in Magic the Gathering in general, there's this idea of lords. You know, the idea where like you have an affiliation and a lord buffs your affiliated characters by +1/+1. This is a lord for orcs. It's pretty expensive, but it's got a decent body. It's going to stay in the field for most of the game and going to be kind of hard to remove, and it just gives a static buff to what I think is a really powerful affiliation just in general. And I think we'll go forward and take a look at the rest of these orcs, and I will come away with that opinion. I don't think that's going to change because I think these guys are pretty sweet. This version says when he blocks and is not KO'd, spin him up 1 level. And he's got this global that we've seen already from the campaign box that's just pay a shield to target character gets +1 defense until the end of the turn. I can't stop thinking about this +1/+1 though. And then finally we have the third one, and this one is while he's active, prep the first action die you purchase each turn. Ooh, that's super interesting. He's 5 though, but you have access to the Kree Captain Global that says pay 2 fists and make something 3 less. So technically you could get this for 4, get him out there, and then just focus on purchasing some action dice and prepping it. It may not be enough upside to justify running it to get to prep whatever action die you purchase, but it's still really interesting to think about. Maybe if it were statted on something or placed on something with a cheaper purchase cost, it'd be a lot better. Okay, here we go. Orc Boy, 2-drop, 2/2 on top, a 2/1 all the way, or a 2 attack all the way across, which is pretty good. When he attacks, it gets +1 if at least one other character die also attacks. So you're just about always going to be attacking with something else. So you're looking at an attacking 3/2, and you have multiples of these out, you're getting an attacking 3/2. You slam this on the team with the Mogrock that gives +1/+1, you're looking at an attacking 4/3, or multiple attacking 4/3s. So that's pretty cool just by itself. This would be great in limited formats and in like draft type formats, of which you could totally draft this set already, most likely, because Truby, if you don't know Truby, he works on the Dice Coalition team builder portion of the site, and he does the draft pack generator. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Here's the next Orc Boy. This one says when he is KO'd, if you control another Orc affiliated character die other than Orc Boy, return Orc Boy to the field at level 1. So even if he gets KO'd while you're pushing with him constantly, he just comes right back. Just bring him right back as a 2/1. Pretty cool. And this doesn't say by combat damage, right? Yeah, no, like, so even if you KO'd him with any sort of an ability, he just comes right back. Sort of like a slightly better version of Alfred, MI5 from the old World's Finest set. Man, it's weird to say old World's Finest set, because it feels like just yesterday when World's Finest was still with us. Okay. When Orc Boy is KO'd by a higher level character die, return Orc Boy to the field zone and spin it up 1 level. So as long as you're engaging with something that's, you know, like level 2 while you're level 1, or level 3 while you're level 2, he's going to come back. It's hard for me to, you know, see this ability and think it's amazing when compared to the one that is just clearly better, but still pretty cool. As a 2-drop too. I mean, those are the kind of 2-drops you're looking for. Stuff that gives you just a little bit of upside. So now we're on to Orc Knob, 2-drop as well. When a character die is KO'd, Orc Knob gets +1/+2 until the end of the turn. So he just gets this buff over and over and over again. You could trigger it as long as you keep KOing character dice. And again, it does not say when an opposing, or when your character die is KO'd, or when an opposing character. It's just when any character die is KO'd. So you slam this down onto a team with, just a consistent board wipe, this is a nice little buffing tool. Well, we'll see something that's better than this for that exact reason, but it's still pretty cool. 2/3/3 on top, so he's expensive to get out there, but he's a 3/2 on the second side, so it's a step up on the Orc Boy stats. Next Orc Knob is a 3-drop, and this one has Swarm. 3-drop Swarm is generally not very good, but if you're playing within set, this is just fine. It's gonna be fine, because generally limited play is a lot slower than competitive play, and just like miles slower than like high level competitive. So 3-cost Swarm in those settings would be totally fine. So worth picking up or playing around with if you're just playing within the Warhammer 40k set, because you're gonna get some good ramp out of that. The last Orc Knob is a 3-drop as well, and it says when this Orc character die, while an Orc character die with a purchase cost 4 or greater is active, he gets +1/+1 and is free to field. And that's just a static, persistent buff. So you'd be fielding a 0 fielding cost 4/4 on top, as long as you have, you know, any of these 4-drop, like Storm Boys or War Bikers or Battle Wagons, stuff like that we're going to look at here in a moment. Let's talk about Stompa, shall we? Let's talk about this Max 2. Oh, I should really point this out. This is important to note. This is a Max 5, so which means you can bring 5 dice for that. This is also a Max 5. This is a Max 2. You can only bring 2 of those. I love that. I don't love the fact that I would have to buy 3 of these just to complete that Max 5, but I absolutely love the idea of messing with that number right there, because it just changes the team dynamic construction completely. Just giving you the option of, like, let's just put Max 6 and see how many people want to run 6 of this random die. That's just super interesting to me. It changes things a lot. This is a Max 2, by the way. And this is a 9-drop, so yeah, you're not really going to be bringing 2 very often. It's got range 2, and it says when fielded KO 2 target opposing character dice. So he just drops down and KOs a bunch of stuff, which is very cool. And he's got range as well, so he's likely KOing 3 things the turn you field him and then attack with him. And he's a 9/9 on top, and you only have to pay 2 for him. This is a really solid, interesting card. And you just got to find a way to get to 9 or reduce his purchase cost, which there are ways, certainly. Now we have a Max 1. So you can bring 1 die for this. You can only, you know, have 1 die sort of cycling through your bag at any one time. It's range 2, and it says when fielded, KO target opposing character die and return it to its card. That character die cannot be purchased next turn. So it KOs something, then puts it back, making your opponent have to repurchase and cycle the die and then refield it. But it can't even be purchased on the turn that you've after you've KO'd it. This is a really sick ability. It's really cool. And you could totally get a Taskmaster out from like the Golden Age stuff and copy when, or there's other things that copy when fielded effects too. So you can even just leave this in the field and see if you could copy the when fielded effect and just keep doing that. Ooh, that would be fun to think about. That's a fun thing to brew around. Oh, here we go. 8 cost, Max 2, Overcrush and Frag. So just very simple. You're looking at a 9/9 Overcrush, and it also frags. Okay, probably most excited for these next 3 cards, because these Storm Boys to me seem really cool. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm almost out of water. Oh, the stream's gonna end early. Almost out of water. 4-drop Bolt character when fielded. Oh, it's a 4/5 on top. That's pretty good for a 4-drop. When fielded, deal damage equal to Storm Boy's attack to target opposing character die. When fielded, deal 4. A 4-drop when fielded, deal 4. That is essentially the same as KOing target opposing character die, because it is generally accepted that things that are in the field are going to be 4 or less defense, like half the time, right? Your win conditions on, 3 or 4 different teams that I can think of off the top of my head are more highly defensive statted than that, but a lot of them are less defensive statted. And this removes a bunch of control pieces as well. So this card's really cool. Yeah, Rare Absorbing Man would proc a second trigger of that ability. That's a good point, that when fielded from last one. Here we have a 4-drop Intimidate. This card's busted. Okay, Intimidate already is busted. Getting a turn 1 purchase Intimidate character is sick. And then you've got the global on top of it. It says pay a bolt. Once per turn, target character die gets range 1. So they do limit it to once per turn, because if they did not, this would already be, you know, even more busted. But the ability to just throw this on a range team and have an Intimidate character that basically... So I should explain Intimidate. If you don't know what Intimidate is, if you're new to the game or anything like that, Intimidate is a keyword that says when fielded, when this die is fielded, pick one of your target opposing character dice, like pick one of your opponent's dice and just remove it from the board. And any persistent effects it may have just go away until the start of the next turn. They just go away. So basically, this is a there's like a tempo flip, right? There's this huge tempo play where you just field one of these, remove one of your opponent's thing. Now you're up 1 character die, they're down 1 character die. So there's this dynamic of flipping where, you know, if you guys were tied on board, now all of a sudden you're way ahead. Plus you've removed something important, most likely. So this card's really good. I like this card a lot. I told myself I wouldn't talk too much about some of these cards, but these ones get me hyped. Then we've got the 4-cost Storm Boy that has range 2 and also has that sweet global. So this one fits on a range team really well because it has range. War Biker 3-drop. These ones were recently spoiled. War Biker says while War Biker is active, prevent all damage from the range ability to your Orc character dice. Now notice it doesn't stop any range or all range abilities. It just stops it to your own Orc character dice. So this is sort of like a one-sided protection, which is nice. It's got a 4/3 on top, which is also nice. A 3/2 for 3, and then a 4/3 on top. Decent. This next one says, while it's active, prevent the first point of damage to your sidekick character dice from each source. All of these prevent damage from each source are really good counterplays against range, because that's what range is doing, right? It's dealing damage from a different source each time you use range. Each character die that's dealing range is a different source. So this one's sort of negating that range ability, but only for your sidekicks. And then we have a 4-drop version that says, while he is active, opposing global abilities and action dice cannot target your Orc character dice. So this one's pretty good as well. All right, we're closing in. These are the last 3 cards from the Orks team pack. Let's do it. 4-drop Battle Wagon. It's got frag, and it's got a 3 fielding cost 5/5. So that 3 fielding cost is really excessive. I don't know if it's worth it for that fielding cost. You got a 5/5 for 4, and it's got frag. So it's, you know, I mean, you push with it, and you're either dealing 5 or you're KOing something and triggering frag. Maybe it's worth it. Definitely worth playing around with to see if frag is that good. And then we've got the 4-drop, which is another 4-drop. A range 1, and it says while it's active, when an opposing character die is KO'd by range, prep a die from your bag. So this plays very similarly to one of the ones from the campaign box. You could stack both of those on the team that you're playing with, get them both out in the field, and prep 2 for each character die KO'd by range. Pretty cool. And then the final card in the set in this Orks team pack is Battle Wagon. It says range 1, Battle Wagon has range 3 instead of range 1 if an active opposing character die has range. So if you're playing range v range, then this card is really sick. And even if you're not, it's just a good range character, right? The other cool thing, I wonder if you could do this. Go over here. Yeah, you could totally trigger this, like proc this. Check this out. So if you want this to have range 3 at any point, you just use the global and give one of your opponent's character dice range 1, and then all of a sudden you have range 3. So that's really cool. Some cool cards within the Orks team pack. Okay, so Orks could be $9.99. Very cool. Most of these are max 4s. If you could see all of those max 4, max 4, max 4. We've got max 2s in there. The ones that you're looking at for max 5s are these. I'll put them out. Any other max 5s? Nope. The rest of those are max 4s. These are your max 5s. You're only looking at Orc Boys, 2-drops basically. Orc Boys and Orc Knobs. So make your own decisions. If you are willing to buy 3 of these in order to get max dice for the Orc Boys and Orc Knobs. Maybe for the Orc Boys, I'm not so sure I would want to jump out and buy 3 of these things for just to have 6 dice for either of those cards. But that is you know, a decision you can make. The other thing you could also do is buy 2 of these for yourself and then split one with somebody else, and then you guys can split the dice amongst yourselves as well. So that would work. That would get you there.